abstain.
Button somewhere.
That's what we were asking, where the button is.
Guys, come on.
I thought for sure it was.
I just did half the work for you. I'll figure it out.
No, we already did that work.
Oh, you
We
already
needed
know how
you
to
to
do
do
it?
the other work.
You already know how to get it down?
We needed you to find the button.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm doing right here.
You're gonna have. There.
I'm gonna Google.
Google where's the screen button.
At Haymarket Town Hall.
Thank you.
Okay. So it's 7 o'clock. I guess we will start the meeting. Call to order, please. Not recording yet?
No, it is. It's just I don't have my list of members.
Okay.
Are you what? Okay. Calling to order, Mr. Day,
Here?
Mr. Lewerson.
Here.
Yes. Mr. Leake,
Here.
Ms. Cavazos. Here. Ms. Edwards.
Here.
Okay, you got everything you need to continue, or?
I do. We are recording. I'm sorry if I'm a little flustered right now, but we're recording. So we're
Okay.
good. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I guess we'll start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, sir.
I guess I'll start off. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and I will approve the December 28th meeting minutes. If we had a quorum with just me, Robert, and Fawn. There we go. I went blank on your name. I was just naming who was here at the last meeting.
That's okay. Did you need me to tell you? Or the meeting? Who was at the meeting?
No,
Okay.
I went blank on Bond's name, so I have to
Oh.
apologize.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, no, I can't motion because we weren't here, so.
I'm letting everyone have a chance to catch their thoughts on it.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the ARB meeting on Wednesday, December 28th, 2016.
Okay, I got a motion, a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Anybody have any corrections to discuss before we vote? Okay, let's go for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody who abstains?
Same.
Abstain.
Okay, meeting minutes go by. Okay, next agenda item is citizens' time. This is a time in which citizens can come up and comment on things that are they feel are out of place around the town. It's not time for any of the certificate of appropriateness defenses or anything at this time. Is there anybody in citizens' time that want to speak? And you guys, we got you set up for new business, if that's good? Okay. So, it looks like we don't have anybody for citizens' time, so we'll dive right into the certificate of appropriateness. First one on the agenda is a dog's day out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a certificate of appropriateness for a new building to be located at 6680 Fayette Street. The business is Dogs Day Out, which is like a doggy daycare and salon, right? And there'll be some possible boarding, right? Okay. And the applicants are here to make a presentation. We do have samples here on the table, which not sure how you want to handle this, if you want me just to bring the samples up, or if you want to hear from them and then bring the samples, and how would you like them distributed? They're here, the samples.
Why don't we go with, I guess, a descriptive, if you guys want to present whatever you want to present, and so we have an idea what the structure looks like, and then we can put the elements to the structure.
Turn on your, just push the button.
Just push the button till the light turns green. There you go.
Steve Wagner, architect for Dogs Day Out. And I guess we can start, if you have the rendering in front of you, maybe the easiest. I don't know if I got a small one.
We all have small ones. We don't have any.
The larger ones are over there if you want to.
Yeah, the large. Yeah,
Can
they're
you
large.
pass those down, Robert, please?
Might be easier to see it, but I've got the small one.
Bond and I can share, right? Yeah.
The top ones that you got in your right
Right
hand.
there,
Yeah.
right there. Thank you.
I suppose by this morning
Yeah, I was looking at it before the meeting.
Yes, and we do have elevations also, of course, along with the floor plans. And the floor plans are more just to orient you for the building itself. Once again, we're submitting for certificate of appropriateness, Dogs Day Out. They're in for a site plan review right now, but we thought it's a good time to at least bring this to ARB to go over colors, go over the structure itself, make sure everything's okay with the town of Haymarket. It is a pre-engineered metal building. We wanted the look of it with a wraparound porch to convey part of it with the town, but also the structure itself of a barn design to it. And, of course, working with the metal building, we tried to keep the colors, of course, that we were handed, but, of course, obviously with the colonial-style colors that they had, and the blue, the closest blue that we could find. It's actually probably more similar to the building out front, the blue that's on that, but second. This is the siding color. Surrey beige. Siding color. And once again, we looked at some of the combinations that were handed out, and we're figuring the closest sort of was this combination at the top, where the body is the Surrey beige, the brick is the brick samples over there. We've got two different samples, but I think you're leaning, between the two of them. But one's a little bit more of a mix to the right. The left is probably a little bit closer to what we had in the renderings, more of a solid, but more of that beige, and then with the roof being the blue. And, of course, that was the closest we could find to the blue. They call it a royal blue, but once again, it's not as bright as the blue on the building out front, but it is a blue. This color is sort of a slate blue, and, I mean, that one's called, I think, royal blue. So that's a similar look to it. The metal siding itself on the building, we've got the brick wainscot around the bottom, first off as an accent piece, but also that's where the abuse is going to get, just pedestrians walking by. Just figured that was good. That was a nice accent to it, brick in the town to work with it. And then above that would be the metal siding. Now, the metal siding is the same that's on the ice rink that we did, also Iceplex. So the pattern of it was what was approved by the ARB before at the ice rink. And so we're doing the same exact siding on this one, just with that color. A little bit lower. Oh, sorry.
Mine's more of the yard layout.
So what are we showing here? Which color brick are you using
No, we're looking,
for this one here?
yeah.
I won't bite you, Kevin, I promise.
It's more of a, it's not as much of a blend, but once again, we did bring the other one that has a little more blend to it, but this is closer with the first choice, but that's with the rendering, just trying to, keep it as close to the rendering and those color sample that we were given to look at. So, just like- And then we would also be using the same, like they've done with the color grout, to match right off of that also. This one has more of the standard grout that you normally see. But the one, but that's what we're saying, that could, we could go to that direction too, but more for this one with the color grout. It gives you that more solid look in the background that you, before you come up to the photo.
Want to start with comments?
Yeah, we can start with comments.
Go around.
Yeah, we'll go around the table.
Because the area is primarily residential and going over there and looking at the actual neighborhood, I would suggest a brick building similar to the one where Family Dentistry is located right here, or an actual home that could be used as like a dog spa and daycare with like an extended yard. To me, this actually looks like the ice rink, which is in an industrial park, so it matches, but to put this in that neighborhood behind that building, I don't feel like it would be appropriate. I don't feel like it would mix.
Can I respond to,
Yeah.
or wait for the comment?
I agree. I mean, I think, since I'm the council liaison, there were residents spoke at the meeting, and I think we really need to be mindful, and we have gone to such lengths over the years to keep everything looking historic, that this looks very industrial to be in that area. And it's not industrial, it's B1 now, but it was residential. So I think we need to be very mindful of the exterior appearance of the building. And with the metal siding, I know that it was approved at the Iceplex, but that's a completely separate, different situation.
When I say with a metal sign, that was just more for the style.
No, I
Metal siding.
understand, but that's
But it is a
complete-
barn, but once
Right.
again, the design is more to a barn, with the look, and
This must
And-
be like a more modern barn, because when I think of a more historical looking barn, I would think of something that's actually wood. When you look at this building, I would be upset if I was one of the neighbors that lived in that area. It doesn't look historical, and I feel like there are other options that could be used.
Could blend more into with the adjoining properties.
It's definitely not the dog spa idea. I think it'll be very successful, and I think that the town will love having that. It's the actual architecture of the building.
Yeah, I think it's more the materials. You're definitely dealing with prefabbed aluminum siding, which is definitely not a residential. And I mean, you're going directly into a residential area on a road that isn't even VDOT standards because it's been grandfathered in. You're looking at a rustic area that's going in here. And then we go from these complex brick structures to face, and then to go into the residential, and you're all of a sudden getting this big industrial-looking building right there. It
When you
really
say
does
big,
not.
it's not, I mean, once
Well,
again, it's
yeah,
only
it's
a
not
12-foot
big.
eve height.
It's not big, but,
And it's dropped down on the property. I'm just, right across the street is a rancher, which is very similar. If you turn the building sideways, it's an
Right.
identical building
but
to
the
it.
materials are completely different, okay?
I think if
You're
it
looking at a
Because it's not a
prefab-
residential building.
Right,
Just
you're looking
not
at a
gonna answer it.
prefab aluminum structure,
It's metal. Yeah, it's not
right,
aluminum.
or
Yeah.
metal.
And it's to look like, and that's how they've designed it, the metal panel, so it looks like the old board and batten. But once again, it is not a historic structure. We're not trying
Yeah,
to
but
look
with
at
the
it.
vinyl and
There is no vinyl. It's not vinyl.
whatever this material is, the metal.
Metal, yes.
If you look at the VCA Healthy Paws, which is just on Washington Street, it looks more like a home. It looks more like a rancher, the style that's across from this property. And I think that if it looked more like a home, I think it would be like more welcomed to the actual neighborhood because it would blend in a little bit better.
The materials, if I can jump in and maybe say, the
Sure.
materials are harsh. They're not.
What
I
you would
don't-
use for a residential
Right,
structure.
they're very harsh and very stark and very out there, so it doesn't blend in. It kind of really, it's,
Well, it is, once again, it's a commercial building.
well, I
So you would be
understand
okay
that.
with a vinyl sided,
No.
just like it would across, okay, but that's what I'm
No.
getting at. The other buildings that you're referring
I'm
to
referring
down
to
are
the
vinyl
style.
sided.
I'm referring to the style.
Okay,
And
but that's what I'm saying. Everything down, all the buildings that have been built down there are, the residential are vinyl sided.
But they look like
Houses.
homes.
Right, I understand. So, but we're not ever going to be a two-story home.
No,
We're not going to look like it.
but,
And that's what I'm getting at. If you look at the ranch directly across the street, if you turned it sideways, it's a gable roof, same thing. And then we added the porch on it to give, yeah, so it isn't a straight industrial building. There's not too many industrial buildings that have a porch, wraparound porch on them.
no, but
That's
the materials that you're using to finish the building are very stark and harsh.
Right.
So
And
it's,
that's why I asked if we change to a different material, the siding, if it was a vinyl siding, which is,
Yeah, I'm okay with the design, the look of it. I mean, there'd be certain things that need to be kind of catered a little bit, like the posts look like they're straight, solid beam posts.
we could do a
Maybe
beam
some
wrap.
type of,
It could be a wrap.
yeah, a newel, whatever, some type of detail to it. I don't know how this roof is. I don't know if you could do something like a aluminum seamed style roof to give ridges like it.
Well, it does. It's a
Right,
standing
is that
seam
what that
roof.
is? I didn't know
Yeah.
if that was just kind of like a.
Yeah, it's a standing seam metal roof, so it'll have standing seams on it. It's not a barn roof that has the multiple ridges on it. It's a
Yeah,
standing seam metal roof,
exactly.
which you would
That's what I
see
meant.
in a historical district, because it's going to be seamed on-site. It's not what you would buy at Lowe's or 84 Lumber that they used to sell. It's not that ribbed style roof.
Yeah. So, what we'd need to do is soften this down to look more residential with, like I said, residential materials.
I mean, I understand that you need a utilitarian building. I mean, that's what the business is for, but to fit where you're going, you really need to soften the starkness of the building to fit more.
Right, so we tried to put, we have non-industrial windows in there.
Sure. If you state your name and speak at the microphone, that would be great.
Sure, Andrea Payne, A Dog Stay Out, Haymarket. We tried to put windows in there that would be more found in a residential state versus just commercial-like windows to help give a welcoming to that piece there. And the whole idea was like a barndominium. If you Google that up on Google, you'll find that a lot of people are building homes called barndominiums now. That's kind of a new thing. And this resembles what that would be. So actually that's how I found the idea and related to our architect is I found something on the internet that talked about a barndominium, and this was the look and feel of it. And I thought, well, we could utilize this in a neighborhood setting and use it for our business so that it kind of bridges the gap between pure commercial on Washington Street, which has that more historic look, into a neighborhood setting because of the wrap porch and the windows that we were we're putting on the facility. And then we added the brick as well to, again, bridge that gap between the vinyl sided homes that are in the back of the community and that neighbor to it, to what was neighboring with Remax and Giuseppe's.
I just think you just need to take it farther with the windows and kind of carry that over to the exterior. I just think it's too harsh. It just, in my opinion, it doesn't fit with the area of the town that it's in. So,
Do you have enough with that to understand what
No,
we need?
I do not.
So
There's as I said, there's two ranchers, there's another ranch down the way. What's the difference between a ranch home, one-story ranch home with a gable roof, which this is identical?
it's the
it's turned
materials
sideways.
on the outside of the house.
And as I
So
said,
that's where
I
you need to
asked-
start.
Yeah, so like the aluminum, or the,
You have the material here that you're using, the
like the
metal?
vinyl siding.
Yeah, the metal siding.
Like my house
That's why I was
has, and your
comparing
house
with the
has. I think you
ice
have
rink.
a
It's got
Dutch,
the same metal siding.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dutch board, and I have,
Maybe it's
this.
also the depth and the texture. Like if it was more three-dimensional instead of just straight, like if you added,
Bay window or
yeah,
something.
some kind of, like even shutters, adding on, instead of it just being straight down in the front.
It's not, I guess I'm confused. What do you mean straight down? I mean, we put a lot of fenestration in with the amount of windows in there, and then, of course, they're heavy trim around the windows. There's not enough room for shutters, because if you're going to put shutters, you need to do them properly. You don't just put shutters on for
I'm
just
trying to
another
give you
piece of
ideas
trim.
to help you understand what I'm referring to.
Well, I understand
Okay.
you, but that's what I'm saying. If we throw a bunch of shutters on there, unless they're sized, the shutters are then going to be hitting each other, because properly sized, if it's a 3-foot window, it needs to be an 18-inch shutter. There's 3 feet between the next window, so all you're going to see is window, shutter, shutter, window, shutter, shutter. So we put heavy trim around it, and it's hard to see on there, but there is trim around those windows. And so that's what you would actually have seen more if you're looking at.
So maybe
this.
put a double window and put shutters on either side, or do something.
Yeah, I mean, this is an example. There's no shutters on
This
this.
is just for the colors. This
But
book.
what we're saying, but this is a historical, the difference between one and the other, and that's what I'm,
I think if you look
this one doesn't.
around at the house that's just around this area, even like Winterham, the building there.
I worked on Winterham, yes, I do know Winterham.
So
That's,
I'm sorry, please don't, I'm not trying to be,
but I don't know how to come back to you.
Okay.
We can't change the dimension of the building is there, the height of the building, we've kept it down low. I'm never gonna get a 2-story look. Winterham is 2-story, everything
okay.
down
What I'm
is
referring to,
2-story.
just try not to be so defensive. I'm trying to help with ideas. But there are shutters, there's depth with the color, and if maybe you were able to change the windows so that, like she mentioned, there was a double window with shutters on the side. Like, to me, that would look more residential, more like a home.
Than a colonial, they're all single windows. The problem, we can't work the twin windows into the design inside of the building. If we
They
put
can't
twin
be
windows, it
changed.
doesn't, it's how the layout of the floor layout is.
So each one of these windows represents like a dog kennel bay or
No,
something
no,
along those lines?
there's an apartment.
Office, that type of
It's an
thing?
apartment, it's an office, that's why there's a floor plan there. That's what always, we bring floor plans so you understand. If we put it and there's columns, that first bay next to the front door, there's a self-wash station, but there's a steel column right there, so that couldn't be a twin window right there on that first one. The next one coming in for the grooming, if you did a twin window, but then you're going to lose your symmetry. Right now, there's a symmetry to it, and that's very important. Once again, in any type of colonial design, any type of design is symmetry. Left side and the right side should be the same, and that's what we kept with that. I mean,
feel like essentially it looks like the ice skating rink. And I feel like that is what the neighbors are going to feel like. That there is a huge industrial building in the neighborhood. So I really think that we need to work together on how we can make it feel more like a home. or
Well,
more historic looking.
And that's, I mean, the rink is 200 feet by 200 feet. This building is 50 feet wide, which is, I don't know what,
I know you're frustrated.
I don't understand the comparison with the ice rink at all, other than the metal siding, which,
The whole
yeah,
shape of the structure.
which is and we can't change that. That's in the site plan. It's a rectangle. It's a rectangular building, just as I said, the ranch that's directly across the street is a rectangle. Same thing. The one next door to that is a rectangle. That's what we're relating to those two. You drive further down, there's a brand-new neighborhood. Those houses aren't next to that. The next house down is a one-story. Everything going next to this are all one-story houses. The two stories are further down. You're comparing us to brand-new two-story houses that not. But that,
About the whole street and the house across the street, that is a ranch style. It's very different than this building.
it's turned
That house is
sideways.
brick, isn't it?
No, it's siding. It's a siding house directly across the street.
I'm trying to
That's-
help you with, so you understand where I'm coming from.
Well, and that's what, and as I said, when we design to an environment, but the close environment, it's very hard to design something that's down the road or something the other direction. I just don't, because that's what I said, we could do a siding, certainly change the siding, but it sounds like you're looking for the complete change on the architecture, which we're hemmed into the rectangle is there. That's not, I don't know.
Are you thinking maybe, are you thinking maybe dormer windows up top instead of the flat to give it some more depth?
Something, it just
Yeah.
looks so harsh and industrial.
Can we do that up top?
Not, no. Well, that's where we added the front windows and the gable up above. The dormers, if you were going to add them, would be on the longer part. Once again,
This all the way around, you make it like a roof similar to what.
the rancher across the street doesn't have dormers. We're too shallow a roof.
We can make these type of
Dormers.
recommendations, that's why we.
The houses across the street, are they, the vinyl, is it going sideways? Is that
Yeah,
part of?
sideways.
Down
Yeah.
the street, yes.
So, I mean,
That's what I was
would
suggesting,
that
if we
help?
went, right.
If we took the metal and we ran it vertically, would that, or would that, horizontal, instead of
I
vertical?
knew what you meant.
Would that help any? What do you think, Bond, Susan? Is that a start?
I mean, I don't know, I'm not an architect, but I just,
No, I'm saying, just as.
I do think that, I'm trying to think on my house, it's horizontal.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
typically it's
horizontal would probably be better.
I mean, there's houses down there that do have board and batten, what's called
Yeah.
board and batten siding, and that goes vertical, and that's what this style, but, and we could do it either
Windows
way.
that you said, maybe adding shutters where you could. If you could on the upper windows, possibly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at more windows on the upper portion, I mean, there's,
Like I said, you also got the support poles for the wraparound porch style look. The porch style looks a little bit industrial or modernized, where how it looks like you have the roof that is crimped, seamed all the way down. Maybe something that looks like a standard porch as opposed to.
it is a standard porch. Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
because
standard
the way this is shown, it kind of looks like you're just taking the roof, the metal roof, and
Same pitch.
What's-
yeah, doing some type of wraparound.
Well, that's the gutter. That's the actual gutter. The gutter is the same color as the roof itself. What you're seeing is the wraparound, the fascia line. The roof comes down as a standard roof does, and then it's got a wraparound gutter, and that would be the same color. Of course, obviously, we can change that to the tan if you wanted a difference. And once again, this is a rendering, but this would be a standard roof like you would see on a wraparound house, which a lot of times they do a blue roof or a colored roof, and then they'll do white.
You can do white trim.
That's the fence,
That's the
right?
fence.
Yeah. The fence, that's the only white
Yeah.
in here.
'Cause if you're looking for some trim, same thing. We could do all the gutters in white if you were trying to, then the columns could go to a white. And that could give a little bit more of a residential look, I guess, if that's where it's,
What about the color of the roof? Would you be up to changing that to something more neutral?
We have blue
Unfortunately-
right here, which is.
I know.
and we found,
That's a,
yeah, unfortunately, this isn't, when you're going with a metal roof, you're somewhat limited by the amount of colors you can
I
have.
don't want to do bright yellow.
Yeah, there's red.
Yeah, we had to select,
I mean, and then the rest of that is, there's Galvalume, which is a silver, which I know that would not be appealing. But once again, I mean, when we're looking at the blue, that was probably the closest color that matched with the packages. The blue that they'd go through, yeah, it's the blues that they had.
But those, well,
with this kind of stuff and the trim being more white,
mhm.
I think that
Oh,
would help
absolutely,
figure
but-
that out.
But I don't think,
I
I
don't
think,
I don't know if we need a lot of blue roofs though in the town.
well,
Do we?
I'm just saying, I just think this is not something that we can just say, okay, change these poles and change this. I think the rendering needs to be redone so we can see it on the
Yeah,
building.
I feel we'd probably need a revisit, but we need to
Yes.
give direction on where to go, okay? So,
That's pretty much the color that we can do for the roofs. See, otherwise, if you're going blue, and the blue was picked also because that's part of their colors for the actual Dog's Day Out.
I know other residents that aren't a fan of the blue roof that was put
In town.
here
Yeah.
in town.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, we got hit hard on that one.
yeah. So I don't know that we want.
Would it be
to-
allowed again, would be the
Yeah.
question.
Would it be allowed again? Because we might not necessarily want a lot of colorful roofs in the town. You know, even though that's something that might be like a trend, I don't think,
Well, we stayed away from the bright blue, which is that one.
yeah. I think I would recommend a different color for the roof as well.
And if you're not going to do a different color, then you definitely need to soften up the pillars, the gutters.
I guess the question would be if the main roof was less roofed, but then the lower roof, could that still be the blue? Which is done all the time when we do houses, we accent.
I
we do the
probably
lower
wouldn't
roof.
do two different color roofs, but maybe incorporating the color with,
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe the front door.
if you
The
wanted to
front
try and
doors
keep
could
like
be
a blue
color.
roof, you may want to go with some type of, a regular style roof on top, you know, if you're going to use an asphalt. Yeah, see,
Yeah, this doesn't work.
yeah, that would be the only way to blend a different color on
Well,
the,
no, what I was saying, if we were looking at, this is a neutral colored roof, if your main roof is neutral, because that seems to be a lot of the objections, it's the size of that, if then that went down, but the wraparound itself, if that was still, if that could be an accent color.
I don't think I would.
yeah, the difficulty on that though is having the same materials, it just doesn't seem to work right. Like I said, when you got a contrast of different materials, it works out better when you have the roof.
Change the color.
What about doing like a more neutral roof color, like the burnished slate, and then if you did the blue that's in the color palette that you like for like the front doors?
I need some feedback from this side with colors.
change the
because
front
I'm good
doors?
with the blue.
They have to be glass. They have to, someone
So I'd
walking
like
up
your
with a
guys'
dog,
opinion on
the
that.
direction they need to be able to see.
On the blue for the roof or for the,
Solid color. And that's not an inviting thing
For
anyways, for any
entire
commercial
thing, all blue?
operation. It's not good to have
Well, the
solid
entire
color.
thing,
This
I'll
is
do.
a
I just don't think, changing these two colors but keeping a metal seam, I think it kind of looks funny myself.
I mean, it's plastic.
Well, there's some,
But they're like framed in color,
Oh, and of course, and these are. And
so that
actually,
could
that's
be
what's shown.
framed
These are
in the blue.
And that is the color, that is a blue right there. So we already have those shown in blue, the entrance doors. We're picking up that same as an accent color. So
My-
that's what I was saying before, this could be changed to, the columns could be changed to a white, we could do a white well, or the tan, either one for the gutter line going around. So then you're not seeing all of that.
More of a barn roof?
That's where I would start, would be to
yeah.
soften that up, do the, you know, the gutters, the pillars, that would kind of bring it down a little bit and make. Is there going to be any lighting out here? There's no.
Yeah, there's all under canopy lighting, down light.
Is that permitted? Are we allowed to do that?
I'm assuming it would be in the roof, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
You can see it.
it's kind of in the ceiling, so it's ceiling
You're
lights.
not seeing a fixture.
No, I like your idea. No, I think that's an excellent.
Just like the, I think they have internal lights in the ceiling.
Typically, you see coach lights also. Coach lights that throws light out, so you gotta watch the dark sky and such, so.
Yeah.
We think one more.
The-
Some of the comments,
Oh, I'm sorry.
unfortunately. That's all. If you could talk a little bit more about what type of lighting, the answer that you gave.
Oh, just on the lighting, we were just discussing lighting right now, but as of right now, on the reason for the wraparound porch, the lighting itself would be down lighting, recessed lighting in the porch itself, so you would not see the fixtures from the street. You wouldn't see they're just downlight fixtures.
I just want to make sure this stuff is picked up on the tape, that's
Right.
all, so that we can get the minutes right.
See, to me, that's why it looks so harsh, is because there's nothing. It's just, I don't know.
Well, let's run with something here. And let's just, obviously, being a prefab building, you can't change too much, but there's some that you can change. We all understand that it's a rectangle,
Yep.
right?
Right.
Everything's good with the rectangle. Are we able to change the roof at all? And what I mean by the roof is, when you came in, you had made the comment of wanting it to look like a barn. Are you able to put a more traditional barn roof on it? I don't know what the technical definition would be, but if you understand where I'm going, up, down.
You can't really change the
What,
structure.
Gabriel,
no.
like a
It wouldn't be
Gabriel roof?
That's a Gambrel roof.
Gambrel,
No.
yeah, Gambrel.
That's more like the old post office, and no, it's completely different structure. And plus, then that's going to change what was with the site plan, everything. We tried, the whole idea was to keep it a low roof, not a taller roof. A gambrel would cause a taller roof.
Definitely make it bigger.
With the second floor. That's the reason why you'd put gambrels in. The gambrels were always for haylofts and such. And
Who's the
Change
guy?
the color. Can
Who's
we
the-
change the color of the roof?
and that's
Of the roof.
the main roof. Maybe keep the accent on the lower.
No, she's talking about the whole roof.
No, well,
What do
that's,
you suggest?
I would suggest the burnished slate. You all have this. Or
I think you need a darker color.
brown.
or black.
See, I personally think, and I don't know what's going to happen when I see the picture, but I think if you soften up the other things, it's going to take away from, right now you're looking at it and it's so blue.
Right.
That's all you see is blue when you look at this building.
I just know from living in this area and talking to residents that I've heard so much about this blue roof that people just don't like it at all. So to me, when I'm driving through, I'm worried that if there's another blue roof, it's going to start looking so colorful, and I don't think that that's what we're going for here. I think we're going for historical, you know? I think that a black or a dark gray or this burnished slate looks more like a historical color for a roof. And I think people would be more accepting of it. And I would try to add the blue with your logo and, you know, with the trim on the doors, or I would try to add that somewhere else. I think the blue is just going to be too much blue, especially for a roof. I really don't think people are going to accept that.
I mean,
I'd like to try and get a consensus of this whole board. We haven't really had any input from you guys with color schemes. How do you
Well-
feel about it?
Well, first of all, before I go there, Connor mentioned, I'm gonna give him credit for this, and I think this is a really great idea or thought to throw out there. You know, what do you think about, what it would be possible to do this face here, that's the side, that's facing the road in brick? You wouldn't want to do the whole thing in brick, I mean, that would be very expensive. But just to, that would take some of the harshness, the commercial look out of the side that's facing the road. Would that help?
I just think that would look odd going
Yeah,
down the
I-
sides then.
But the big thing with going down the sides is you wouldn't really, your eye line going down the sides, the tree buffers between all the other three sides is a pretty dense tree buffer to where you really wouldn't see the actual sides of it. You're mainly only seeing the front. Now, yes, when you're driving down the road, if you purposely look over, you'll be able to see the metal on the side. But the big thing is softening up that front face, I think, is the big thing. And obviously seeing the big blue beams, which are not necessarily the color of them, is throwing it off here. But if you could soften up the face of it is the main thing. And,
Right.
and that roof line is the one.
But-
Go ahead.
No, don't you think that if you change the color of the pillars and the gutter and maybe went from this color siding to maybe gray, or it might tone the harshness down of it. It might blend more as opposed to, I mean, go ahead.
I'm not a big fan of the blue either. I'm gonna just
Okay.
say that.
No,
I-
I'm just trying
I'm hearing
to
what
do
you're saying.
everything to let them have the roof, but
If your goal is to try to kind of blend it into the residential area, I don't know, other than that one, like you say, was like, ooh, that didn't turn out too well. You know, it's not gonna, you know, what residential house in the neighborhood has a blue roof?
Right.
You know, I don't, you know, so I know I know where you're going with that. I don't know exactly the magic to, you know,
Well,
to
in their
put it all
defense,
together, but
I mean, they aren't residential. They got a rezoning, so they are a business, but it's not industrial. So I think we need to bring it back around from the industrial to more of a business. I mean, look what Chick-fil-A has done with their building, and CVS, and Fauquier Bank, and McDonald's. I mean, those are not typical buildings for them. They've completely redesigned their buildings to come here, and they do things here that they've never done before, and Sheetz is about to redo theirs. So, they come kicking and screaming, but they end up saying that was a good idea when it's done. Oh, yes, they are, but the fact that you all abut business and residential, I think we have to be very mindful of that.
yeah, there has to be a medium, a compromise,
Yeah.
which is what you're saying here. I mean, we have to be respectful. It is a business, and it's not a residential building, but at the same time, you know, it is in the neighborhood surrounding other homes, and, you know, when I wake up in the morning, if I live there, I want to open the door, oh, okay, you know, want to be, it's like, oh, that's nice, you know, so there has to be a happy medium.
Right.
I don't like, again, I know we already talked about this, the posts, you know, on the rendering, they look that looks, when I see the posts, that's what jumps out at me. It's like, ooh, that's really residential. I-beams, you know, that's what it looks like to me.
But could you soften it up and put, like, railings there between the posts, and that would make it, you know,
Yeah, that would be.
there are all kinds of, yes, like,
real, yeah.
do you know what I'm saying? Like the balusters and the,
To actually make it more of like an older wraparound porch.
that would all soften up the look of the industrialness that's here.
Yeah.
And the more inviting it is, the, you know, it's going to help your business out as well. So we're not just, you know, like, you know, we want you to be a success as well, you know.
Could we utilize the same fencing material that we're using?
I think it's vinyl.
I know, can we use vinyl fencing for the?
You mean for the port? Yeah.
For the
I mean, on the
railing.
front, right?
Railing.
Like open.
Yeah, like the picnic.
They make a
the-
vinyl rail
Yeah.
that goes in between.
That would probably help.
Because then we would definitely do the white columns, white wrap
Right.
columns, because you could do.
That's what I'm saying. It softens it up.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Once we went that direction, yeah, everything would go, all the trim would go to white.
Right.
The trim around the windows would also go to white, so that would make the windows pop out. They're white windows already. They're going to be white. Unfortunately, in the rendering, it's hard to tell. So white windows, you do white trim around there against the tan siding will make those pop a little bit more than what you...
Gabled windows on the
So
top, if you could.
Exactly what you see on the door over there, that window against the side, against the...
I feel like them coming out would help it look a little bit more like a home.
What else could you do to those?
I think the fence,
brick.
the railing.
The railing, yeah. I mean, let's start there and,
Yeah, I feel, the white trim with, you got a tri-color system going on in that case, and I think it will definitely
it's going to soften
buffer it up
yeah.
and blend it together.
So you're totally against, and I know y'all probably think I'm crazy, going away from the lights and the roof here to putting, say, maybe lanterns on the front of it. Again, that.
Yeah, I mean...
Again, again, to me, that adds interest and.
Sure,
Instead of,
yeah,
like,
because it'll be a blend of
windows.
the two.
It helps
Right.
give it depth, too.
Right.
Yeah, the coach lights would be there more. They wouldn't be on the columns. They'd be at the
Right.
entrance
Oh,
door on the
absolutely.
side.
You may still
Absolutely.
need to put lights within the roof.
Oh, of course, that's
But
what
the
I'm saying.
coach lights would more be for a detail effect.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we just hadn't gotten that far even.
Right.
Where the ones, this is, once again, this is...
But I
over
think,
here.
like I said, all
The
those
first
things
draft.
are going to help bring it back around from looking so industrial to being, more. You're more in a transitional area where there's houses right here, but there's also business. So,
Did coach lights have to be approved, or?
Yes.
Black wrought iron coach
yeah,
lights?
yeah. It all has to come back with
It all
the.
has to come back, but what you're picturing as far as black iron light, very traditional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think,
if you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to go on a different subject, so
Okay.
I'll let you keep going.
Oh, no, I was just saying, if you brought pictures of some that you saw that you liked, then we would be able to see them. But what you're picturing, I'm sure, is on the right track.
Yeah, and I think with the siding, we're probably just going to look for a standard horizontal siding, just like the standard residential housing, right? Did you want to pick out a certain type? Did you want, like, I know our area was restricted to having the siding with the bead board on the bottom, and, I didn't know if you wanted,
Do you have a sample of this siding? You don't have a sample, do you?
Yeah, and this is just a standard metal. Like I said, it's what's on the ice
it's what's
rink.
on the ice rink.
Yeah.
Exact same stuff.
Any other reason?
Because this is a prefab building, right?
So we would be
Yes.
putting siding over it.
Yes. So you would end up, just like the brick does. The brick is a veneer over the siding, so this would be a siding that's added over top of it. Then it would actually be a galvanized, the metal panel would go galvanized because nobody's ever going to see it. Then you put the vinyl over top of it. Yeah, just so it's allowed to be vinyl. That's something that's doable. It's not, it's when you get into hardy plank and that's,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
just
and
goes
I don't
right out
think
the
we need
window.
to go to that.
No,
extreme.
no.
Just an aluminum,
Mhm.
or,
No.
vinyl is
Vinyl,
good.
right. And that's what, once again, it's what is back in the back section.
Yeah.
What does everybody think? Are you totally against the vertical to the horizontal, or do you want to see, is it a pain in the neck to show both, like what it would
Oh,
look like?
that's what I was going to suggest. I'm going to bring it back in with the two.
Yeah,
with the
show
two flavors.
both to see.
And I can
that-
bring you because the other suggestion I would make would be below the roof.
Uh-huh.
If we did the horizontal siding and then above the roof, the lower roof would go to the vertical. And that's what you typically would see even in the
Yes.
residential, with more craftsman style, but you can go right down to the
Right down
craftsman
here,
style
yep.
has the exact same, they do. And it's just
Or,
board
yeah,
and batten.
or
It's
like
called
a
board and batten.
scaling, or like the cedar shake type of
Right.
look, or something like that. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there was a lot of times you flip the two, you do
Yeah.
the horizontal, but
Right.
typical barn always had vertical, is always vertical, and that's where these buildings take that from. I mean, of course, they've gotten the metal look after the one, but
So those would be our suggestions. Is that,
For the color of the brick, I would recommend going as close as you can to maybe the
So the
buildings
darker.
that are
For the darker red, yeah, of those two
That's what I would
selections.
recommend.
Except how's that going to match the siding? I think you need to
Yeah.
be mindful of whatever
Because we were
siding
trying
you're
to
going to
stay
pick.
within these groupings, and that's
Okay.
the thing, when you go to a warm color, you want to stay away from the reds.
Yeah.
Yes.
The reds too, and that's why we're trying to stay more to the,
Yeah.
to a brown, I mean, this has more red in it, some red with the clay, but we're just trying to, I guess this is introducing a whole another set of colors.
Right.
When
Okay.
you go to the lens, this is staying in a warm, in that warm tan, but it's, as I said, either way, that's, the rendering, unfortunately, it looks orange in the rendering.
So maybe if he would get those things back and get them to Susanna, and she could send them out, and we could make comments and get them back to you. Does that sound good?
Sure, yeah.
That way, we're kind of a work in progress, so we can get our comments back, and
And you're good with just the meeting minutes, or do you need a punch-out list of what we described
No,
here?
I can do
Okay.
everything.
I'll be happy to read back through what I'm hearing you all say, like in a bullet list fashion, if that's helpful. How about if I turn my microphone on? Because I've made some rather extensive notes while you all were talking, and I want to make sure that I'm hearing what you all are sort of summing up with. I'm a little unclear still on the color of the roof. Did we decide no blue, or did we say
Two
definitely go
options.
toward the
two,
blue?
he's going to go do
Yeah.
2 options, so we can
Just-
see.
Two options for the roof, okay.
And I know I'm going to
Broken
wheel
record
a
it.
snake out there, but I don't mind the blue. And remember, we got the whole board that needs to be in a consensus of sorts, so.
And I'm
I
not
haven't
sure
really
that I'll
heard
mind the
much
blue
from this
either
side,
once it's
so
all
I don't-
done.
I don't. So,
That's why I'd like to
don't
show the
throw
two
it out.
options. Right.
I'm just
Okay.
saying, don't throw it out, because it could still come back and work.
Okay, so two
So-
options for the roof. You'd like to see the rendering with the white that's taken from the fencing and put that like with the gutters and the porch railings and columns and window trim and all of those elements to be in a white type of trim. We're going to do some interesting things with the siding as far as horizontal versus vertical, and we're going to look at some different colors for the siding too. Is that true? Okay. And then also perhaps add to the rendering the coach lighting so that they can see if that element dresses it up a little bit. And then I know that Vaughn was really holding out for gable type windows or some other shutter element or something else interesting.
On the upper level windows.
On the upper level.
See what you can do with those 2 little windows up there.
Oh, with shutters, yeah. We'd probably
Yeah,
do
something-
another
some
square
other type of-
window, so the same thing, instead of a side and a side. It's a 2-foot window, and you do a 2-foot shutter, just like you
Well, it
would see
doesn't
on
have to be a
wall.
shutter, but
Or a
just
gabled window
just-
where it comes out, like what she,
Just something that has some
interest to it, so it's not.
on the upper level. And then the darker color of brick.
Well, it depends on what they bring for the siding.
Okay.
So he's,
Okay.
Right. The other one.
So is that pretty much it in a
Anybody?
nutshell?
I think so.
What-
What 2 colors of the roof are we?
No, he
thinking of?
can-
He can just
he
pick
can-
2
yeah.
colors and.
It'll still be the blue, but then we're going to probably, between those other two, we'll let,
Options.
obviously, the client see what works best with the combination. It may be, just like back on this one, it may be a color more similar to that combination.
Yes.
Which is, I know you call it burnished, but they've got a little bit different one.
right, right.
Because unfortunately, that color and that, just like the other one, it's not, you got to see the metal, actual metal. It's
Yeah.
not exactly that color.
Right, right.
'Cause the-
So you're going to bring some different samples with you? when
Yes,
you come
whatever
out?
combination we bring, we'll come back in with the
With the
vinyl
sample.
sample.
Okay.
Because the same thing, I got to do the same thing. I got to find a vinyl that has a color combination that works with it. Because these are nice, but these are paint. You can paint
Yeah,
anything. with
they're pretty
paint.
good that the siding, because when they re-sided the, where the Copper Cricket is, it was pretty easy to match the siding companies.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot easier with siding than with the metal.
Yes,
The metal
yes.
is only so many
Yeah.
ways you can get that in.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess our suggestion is table this till next month, or are we going to address this outside of the meeting?
Well, we can address it outside, I mean, we can't vote on it,
Right.
but we can give feedback as he gets it ready, then, get it into the office and they'll send it out to us and we'll have maybe a continuing conversation. So we're, at the next meeting, we're ready to hit the ground running.
Okay, so then just table this.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank you. On the roof, I have to say this. On the roof, I just want to say, from my perspective, feel free to bring more than two options. I would just throw that out there. Don't feel like you're restricted only to.
There's a little problem. We get too many options, though, like everything
I know,
else.
but
You know.
still.
Keep it down to, well,
3 or 4.
it's how the combinations work.
Of
you know.
course.
So if we get too,
Okay, I'm done.
yes.
Chair, I make a motion to table item 3A 6680 Fayette Street, A Dog's Day Out, ZP 2016-038 to our next regular scheduled ARB meeting.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Last chance for discussions. Anybody? Okay, we'll put this up for vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay. So
So he'll just get
we'll get
those
progress
things back
on
to
this
you,
and get
right?
you in construction.
Yes, I'm assuming that you're going to send me a PDF via email and some color options via email. Okay. And as far as the comments go, we kind of need to be a little bit careful about making decisions outside the public eye.
Oh, yeah,
So
but just
Right.
giving them
comments can get-
feedback.
Yeah, comments can get folded back and on an individual basis, just not talking to each other
Right.
and then.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
As
that's the
long
only
as we
thing we
keep
want to
it
be
via
careful
email
about.
through Haymarket's mail system, it's all FOIA.
Right, it
So-
is foiable, so,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just that we want to be careful about the ex parte communication thing and those sorts of things we want to be very careful about. But I think it's great that they've offered their time outside the meeting to give you a little bit of feedback, and I'm hoping that will, we'll have some kind of a summation, at the February meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for your time. I'm going to hang on to some of this stuff and you take the others. Okay. That's no problem.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
What are we
now
doing next?
we'll move on to the
Iceplex?
ice complex.
We have an application for lighting at the Iceplex, which is located at 15151 Washington Street. I think you all are familiar with the fact that the building's being redeveloped. You've already looked at the facades and the lighting. I think he said he was going to come back when they decided about. We have 3 large-scale drawings. I think it's still at this end of the dais for the location of the lighting.
Okay.
And Mr. Wagner is the architect on this project as well.
Okay. Robert, can you pass
The
this?
lighting cut sheets, I've got another one here. If you want to pass the next one. This, of course, was emailed to you all.
Okay, so,
Thank you.
I guess I- Okay, so this is the side of the building.
And
but
so
the
I think
main entrance-
Mr. Wagner could present whenever you all are ready.
Steve Wagner, architect for Haymarket Iceplex. This project came before ARB a year and a half ago, probably. And the one item that we held off was the lighting. Of course, at that time, we hadn't gotten that far in the design of lighting for the entire project. So we just asked if we could put that aside for a later meeting to approve the lighting, and so they did. So I'm back here now. Of course, everybody hopefully has seen it. The building's about 2 months from completion for this phase. And we've brought in the lighting that is going on the building. There is not a lot of exterior lights, but this are the lighting that is required for the walkways around the building,
parking area just to the front. All the rest of the lighting in the parking lot was already approved and it's actually installed. That was from a previous installation when we did the entire parking lot from before. And those are the Acorn-style lights. But once you get to the building, we had to do the cutoff style features. And this was the original design of the lighting, was part of the site plan approval process, was approved. There's a copy of it, but the lighting that was on the building, they just don't look at the fixtures themselves. They came back to the ARB for that.
So this is it, right?
Yes.
There's two different ones. The first one, that's the taller one. If you go around the building, there's lights that are on the high part of the building, and then there's lower ones, and that's the back fixture. It's 3 pages back. That's this fixture. This is an LED fixture, and this is actually more for, has a battery backup for it. This is mainly, and that's why it's lower on the building as you go around. That's for pedestrian egress in case of an emergency. When they come out of the building, those lights will stay on in an emergency. They've got battery backups to them and such, so that's why they're LED. They're down lower, so they're for pathway lighting.
So this one is shown black in the thing, but it's actually white?
White, yes,
Okay.
everything's white.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't give them a cut sheet for it, but everything that's on the building is white.
Okay.
And the building itself, Heather Renner, the original approval, it's white. Of course, the CMU upper portion where most of these are located is a white split face block. We then do have a blue trim and a light blue trim in it, but most of the lights are all located in the white. All the gutters, downspouts on the building are white, and so we just picked the white fixture just to match off that.
Where's the?
Any questions from the board? I think it's pretty straightforward.
I make a motion to approve zoning permit 3P2017-001 for Haymarket Iceplex expansion for the exterior lighting.
I got a motion, second?
That's a
You have
three
to
or a
second
Z?
it first.
I make
It's a
a
Z,
second.
I'm sorry.
A second your motion to make a friendly amendment, ZP 2017-001.
Seriously, that's a Z?
It is a Z for zoning
Z,
permit.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I know.
We'll have to make sure that we're more legible.
Look at 3.
Definitely looks like a 3, maybe a cursive.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Anyhow, yes, that's fine. So amended. Is your second amended too, Connor?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second by Connor, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and a second, so any last discussion? And we'll put a vote to it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Okay. And we can move on now. Let me look at the agenda real quick. I think I want to
Do the kids first.
let the kids work, give us their presentation. If that's okay, can I put a friendly amendment in the agenda to?
Yes.
This is going under new business. We're going to move announcements to the end, I'm assuming, or?
Yeah.
And
Thank
tell
you.
me the subject of the new business again, so I can write it down if you don't mind.
I'll give you a motion here. Chair, I make a motion to move to amend the agenda under 5 to add Battlefield High School, where are they?
Volunteer
Opportunities.
opportunities.
Battlefield High School volunteer opportunities above number 4. So I'll actually make that 4, I'll keep that as 5 because it's not an announcement, and then we'll move announcements below new business.
Okay, got a motion?
I second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? We'll put a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Okay. Sounds good. So we'll go to the next agenda item, which is new business. And we'll let you come up here, Andrew. You can hit the mic there. Introduce yourselves and what you would like to do.
Okay, so good evening. Thanks for having us. My name is Andrew Boyd. I'm the senior class president at Battlefield High School. This is Jamie Pangilinan. She's the class secretary for the senior class. So something we started thinking about in the summer is we wanted to establish a more firm connection between Battlefield and the town of Haymarket, especially with the seniors. Battlefield is a fairly new school, so we don't have many traditions, especially for the senior class. And something we wanted to do was to establish a lasting tradition of seniors giving back to their community. So it's a one last time kind of deal. We want to help beautify the town of Haymarket, whether that be renovating a building, painting, fixing it up, et cetera, or cleaning up trash in the town. We know that you all had an idea in mind. Jamie's going to speak real quickly on the resources that we have to help you guys out.
Do I need to state my name before I start speaking?
That would be helpful for the notes is all.
Jamie Marie Pangilinan, class of 2017, Battlefield High School secretary. So because this is such, I'm going to put this up a little bit. Because this is such a big project that we want to pursue in collaboration with you guys, we do realize that because it's a big project, we're going to need a lot of hands. So in addition to the class of 2017 SCA members, we also have access to talking to seniors, part of other clubs such as National Honor Society and Key Club. And to add that Key Club is actually our biggest volunteer organization at school. So we do have, besides just SCA, we have access to other seniors who would be willing to help out. So like Andrew mentioned earlier, we did have an idea before about renovating, I believe, the Big Fred Firehouse, but we were told that it is owned privately. So we were wondering if you guys had any other ideas, and I think you guys actually did propose something else, and so that's something that we would be willing to collaborate with.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is, I guess, create an open forum here of any type of ideas that you guys might have on what the town is involved in and what they may be able to help participate in. And of course, I know it's going to be more helpful to get the council involved, which means you're probably going to be a good bridge to this, Susan.
Okay.
So, truly, the only property that the town owns is this corner, and used to call it the Sears Homes, but now it's the park area. They're being discussed on what's going to happen to them and what phasing we're going to be putting these through. Is there anything that you see that could be attributed to in the near future? What time frame are you looking at trying to get something together?
We wanted to start in the spring when the weather's nicer so that seniors can come out and help. It'd probably be between March and May because we graduate beginning of June.
Right. So, Connor, I don't know if you would agree on this. For the council, we have a site plan and a vision for how the park is going to be. And what we've been discussing lately is to get, there are things that we can do now without having to invest the big amount of money to try and get the area cleaned up and maybe some of the landscaping and they call it low-hanging fruit, some of the smaller projects done up there. So I think, with that being the open space, I think that would be a really good way. And maybe next year's class could do something at the park as well.
Right.
So landscaping, maybe adding grills. Are we going to add grills or anything like that?
I don't know. No.
The two items that Ms. Edwards is speaking of, the two low-hanging fruits that we'd be able to knock off right away. First off, I want to say thank you for giving back to the community. I graduated from Battlefield as well, so I think it's amazing to see you all, especially at your age and your maturity, to come out and be able to give back to the town. So first and foremost, thank you for that. Secondly, the two items with the town, one would be the well house. I know that we are wanting to paint the well house, not a big structure, but that is one thing that we're wanting to redo. And then the other that I believe is going to be another low-hanging fruit is getting rid of the the garage that is there. On what process we're actually going to use to get rid of the shed, I'm unsure of. I don't know if we're going to bring in heavy machinery to remove it, or if we're going to do another tactic on it. I surely would not suggest sledgehammers. Count me out. I will not be there for that day. Yeah, no. But at some point, yeah, exactly. But I know that we are going to be removing the shed, and we will be needing some type of manpower and lady power to remove that.
And Connor, also the scrub, like the underbrush and stuff like that, kind of clean that up too.
What we can do is we can put together a task list with the town council and ARB and figure out a couple items that we'd be able to join partners with you and the SCA and be able to get that to you probably here in the next couple weeks. And then once we do come around to the March-April time frame, we'd be able to reach back out and say, give us a couple days, Saturdays or Sundays that work for you all, and we can all meet up there together and be able to knock that out. But I know that those would be probably the 3 items that are the most low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. In the past, we've done Spring Day and like around April 20th
It's Earth Day.
or Earth Day.
Earth Day.
You know, maybe this can be hand in hand with that, in which this will guarantee at least we'll
Just
get a
depends
good
on if the dates work for them
yeah,
and their
show up.
yeah.
You know, because you know, typically it's just we promote it out there, and whatever residents come out to volunteer. This way, we could at least get a set of volunteers
Right.
that are guaranteed. If we can get a coordination with you,
Right.
that might be a good.
So maybe come up with a couple of dates that would work for you, and we can as well, and see if we can come to an agreement on a date.
Yeah, in the past, we've usually done it around the 20th of April, whenever the weekend falls there.
Right, it's usually the 3rd weekend in April, I believe, for Earth
Yeah.
Day.
Look it up.
So this would be a one weekend sort of thing, like every year?
Yeah, this is
that
what
what you're
we typically have done it every year.
Okay.
Day 2017.
But it might be something that we can work with you at least to get a
Saturday,
hand in hand
April
this time.
22nd.
Yeah.
And actually pinpoint some larger jobs that we don't normally do because we don't have a guaranteed volunteer staff. We have no clue who's going to show up.
Right.
Right.
You know, but if we have some type of idea of what's going to show up, we can at least scope the project at that
Perfect.
point.
Yeah.
It's Saturday, April 22nd is the actual Earth Day.
Have to get with Denise to see
Right.
what they are, if we're doing it on the same day.
Right. But I mean, that could work too. We wouldn't have to necessarily do it on the same day that the event is.
Right,
We could
exactly.
do it, yeah.
And so this would be in relation to Earth Day, and we'd be helping landscape. Is that?
Landscaping or painting the small facility up there?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. The well, I believe.
Well house.
And there might be some maintenance that needs to be done on the other house that's up there too. We can, like Connor said, we can get a task list together.
That'd be perfect. Yeah. And would there be a future meeting date where we'd sit down and talk about like?
Absolutely.
Do you want us to provide money for the materials
Or we could get I mean, there's always donations out there, you know, Lowe's.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever approached them to see if they'll donate? Home Depot, Lowe's, any of the local building places
Okay.
are pretty good about, you know, just say you're doing a service project for school and
Oh, so do you offer them any advertising incentives, or do they usually just, as if you say like, you know, we're contributing to the town of Haymarket, are you guys interested in donating? They're usually interested in.
they're usually very community oriented. I will say that, the different organizations and stuff. So
Okay.
we can discuss, you know, what kind of materials once the task list is brought together.
Okay.
So
And so would we get an email from Mr. Larson then?
we can,
I don't care if you see. I don't have much affiliation with the town council.
okay,
and I
so do you
know-
want?
So I don't
we
know
can-
if it would have to be Connor or you if you guys wanted to be the bridge.
Connor and I have this joke that every time something happens, we go, not it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I can do it.
Because
It's
you would
fine.
be-
I can do
Because
it.
you guys would be the true bridge, because,
Right.
you know, any major project, I'm sure you might have a budget for already in which
No,
you
there
could
are
funnel
some
money
items
to.
that we definitely have funds for, depending on what they choose to do on that day.
Okay.
So,
So the next thing, we'll put together a task list within the next week or so. We'll reach out to you via email. We'll confirm that you actually got the email, obviously, so we don't want it via lost communication. Does Mr. Larson have your contact information?
Yeah, I CC'd Susanna on the last email, and
So you
that
can
had
get
a
that
list
to
of all
us.
the,
I'll be happy to forward that email to the two of you.
Okay,
Or to
perfect.
everybody, however you.
And we can just as easily find your all's email. Our vice president emailed you, so we can continue working through her if that's easier
All
for
of
you.
their emails should be on the town
I was
website.
gonna
If
say
they're
my
not
business
there
card's
yet,
in the
they're
car.
going to be.
Right, that's how
We're
we-
trying to
yeah.
update all of that.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, well,
give them the real estate.
yeah.
I don't think they're buying it.
Write mine on there too, Connor.
oh, thank you very much. No, that is very good.
You're so funny.
All right, well, that was exactly what we're looking for because it sounds like this will be a lasting tradition. We can come back each year and build upon it. So thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you for
Thanks for
coming.
your time.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, of course. That was cool to see. That was interesting. We've never been. That was a new experience for us. So
Well,
thank
good.
you.
Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for the
Okay, so I'll
public
forward
hearing.
the email then.
Thanks, you too.
Bye. Okay, now we get to move on to announcements.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring those of you who aren't on the town council or planning commission and haven't heard that the zoning ordinance draft is imminent. The planning commission will be having a joint work session at the end of February, but at the 1st of February, they're going to actually receive the updated draft with all the comments from all the citizens, from, obviously people on the boards and commissions that have commented, as well as the attorney, as well as the town planner and the town engineer and the town manager. So they're going to receive that, like I said, on February the 1st. The last Monday in the month, the plan is to have a joint work session with the town council, and they will be making their recommendation to town council at their meeting on Wednesday, March the 1st. And then the town council can take it as they do. There'll be advertised public hearings both for the planning commission meeting, as well as whenever the town council decides to hold that public hearing. There'll be two. The Berkeley group will have somebody here at the planning commission meeting to basically show the updates. This is what they did. This is the changes that they were suggested to make by, and by what group or whatever. And they'll be there to answer questions. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. We don't think we're changing anything in your structure or your purview, really. We're just bringing it into the new format. The new format will include the subdivision ordinance as well as all of the zoning. It'll be kind of like a unified development ordinance. So it's a little more user-friendly for folks out there. I was trying to pull together today a copy of all of the ordinances that I have to work with, and they're in several different places in the town code, and that's fine because some things are appropriate in other areas, but at least just trying to reference all of those things. And we didn't actually have a printed copy of all of it. Some of it was on the web, and some of it was printed, but I've got a copy now where everything is printed. So that's the zoning ordinance. I had a couple of other things I wanted to mention that went out or that have happened since we, had published the agenda. We have met with the attorneys for the Payne Lane property across the street. We think that was a very productive meeting. However, they did file an appeal, which they had the right to do. We're not sure if they're going to push that. The Board of Zoning Appeals will hear that at their March meeting. There's a lot of advertisement, notification, and some legal stuff that has to happen between the time we receive the appeal and the time that they actually review it. So that'll give us time to do that and still be under state law. The law says we have to hear it within 90 days. I think they have to make a decision within 120 days, if I remember right. So there's some time. We're hoping that it won't come to that. We actually had a pretty productive meeting with them. They did agree to continue to try to clean things up, and they wanted to get some clarification on what we meant by a few terms. And so I think that was positive. Also, we have received an application that is going to come to you when it's complete. It's not complete yet. I met with the applicants today. I think that was also a productive meeting. But Mr. Zisios has made an initial application to demolish the 2 structures that he owns. We were able to point out the deficiencies in his application and tell him what sorts of things we needed. And Holly and the building official also were in on that meeting. The building official by cell phone, and Holly was there.
The old firehouse.
The old firehouse as well as the bungalow. We
I guess,
explained to him that, the claim that it had an asbestos and a lead problem was,
Which one is the bungalow?
the little
Right
red
behind it.
faces,
Right
it
behind it.
faces Jefferson, the green and, the white and green bungalow on the left, as soon as you go through this intersection on your left, behind the bank. Does that help? It's a craftsman
old bank
bungalow.
building.
It's a story and a half rather large craftsman bungalow.
Not the one on Fayette.
No.
No, it's on Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Okay.
It's on Jefferson, right behind the bank building. The bank building. It's not a bank
Old
anymore,
bank
but
building.
the old bank building. I'm sorry.
And and I don't remember if there were any conditions on the sale of that property, but I thought it was
Is that the
assumed.
stone one that is falling apart? The stone?
It was actually the old
Concrete.
firehouse.
Yeah,
It's
it was more or
concrete that
less-
has the doors, where they sell the fruit for the rotating.
Well, they're not allowed to go in the building anymore, and certainly not to sell fruit, because the claim is that it's, about to fall down, and so it's like, we can't have it both ways. The building official did make a visit, and he did say that it does need to be secured. It's open to the weather. The weather's going to continue to deteriorate the property, and if you're going to use that as an excuse, well, we kind of set him to rights there, and so they said that they would secure it before they left town today. I don't know if that happened because of, got involved, but I know that as of yesterday, the door was still blowing open, so hopefully they'll take care of that today. They've got a time limit to address that. The building official sent that letter on the 3rd of January, and I think he only gets a certain number of days before it has to be
Can
secured.
I ask you, does he have a plan for the property?
Well, he's got some plans in his, we met with an architect, Bill Robeson. Robeson was there, there was a realtor there, and they wanted to talk all about what kind of plans they wanted to do the property, but they wanted to scrape the site. They didn't want to make any kind of an attempt to save the buildings or incorporate elements, and so we were trying to explain to them how it's actually a requirement that you establish reasons beyond your claim of the asbestos and lead issues, because the building official read it and said, that's
No.
not what it says,
Right.
So the architect was going to go in with a structural engineer and give us a full report on the 2 buildings.
That's been
In
done
his
before,
opinion.
but
Again, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
process. It's a process.
And I know there may not have been legally in the contract, but the assumption was on the sale of this building that it would be strictly for repurposing. Whoever would be getting it had some
Well, it's-
type of business plan on how they would be repurposing this building.
Yeah, it's interesting that
And to try and lay this down, I don't think it's going to pass
Well,
any type of.
I tried to explain to
demolition
them that
permit.
it would be difficult. I actually sent them an email that it will be difficult. The onus is going to be on the applicant to prove, that this is actually the only thing you can do. And I think actually it was a friendly meeting. I will say that. We had different points of view. But they know that they have work to do. I don't know that they're going to be back until March, maybe April, maybe later. We don't really know. But meanwhile, we do need to make sure that the life safety issues don't become like what we have across the
correct,
street.
Yeah.
correct.
And so
Exactly.
we had that conversation with them, that they will be expected to keep the property secure and not allow it to continue to deteriorate, because we do have the blight ordinance, and so just wanted to let you all know that they did ask some questions, like if they were able to incorporate some of the architectural style of the bungalow into a new building or buildings or things like that, and it was like, well, let's see what you come up with as far as saving the buildings first, and then maybe we can talk about incorporating elements. So I'm not sure what they'll come up with, to be honest. It's just
I'm just not going to comment.
Yeah.
I invited them to your meeting to hear how the other applicants.
They've been here before.
They tell me that. I think the one gentleman the realtor had not been here before, but yeah.
Okay.
So,
I
there
know
was
how the
that.
process works.
How do we look on, while we're under announcements, how's Sheets coming?
Sheets is at final. They will be coming to Planning Commission. They're on the agenda to come to Planning Commission on February the 1st is the meeting.
Okay.
They're on the agenda, as is the preliminary site plan for the Dog's Day Out. Those are your two agenda items.
And what about, have we heard anything from Mr. Gravitt in the fairgrounds in regards to Lytle?
We have heard nothing back from them.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be drafting a letter on behalf, well, the attorney is guiding me on exactly how we need to do this, but they're coming up against a little bit of a deadline as far as how long we've had this thing in process and no action has happened. So we need to hear something from them.
So it's on their side, not our side.
Right, but we were
Okay.
going to send them a nice reminder letter just to say that, it's been in their hands with comments for almost 2 years at this point.
And we're
Since the
talking the
last
site plan?
contact. Yeah, with the site plan, and so that we feel like it's a nice thing to do, and probably the right thing to do, is to let them know that, 2 years pass and no further action, then, it's kind of at ground zero.
Can I
So-
ask a question? Last month, you guys looked at plans for the Lytle grocery store?
No.
No?
No, I haven't. I
Oh,
don't have
okay.
anything on.
Released them yet?
I have nothing on Lytle.
Okay. I
I-
thought I read something in the minutes about.
Yeah, the only comment was Bond saying, have you seen the Lidles? They're very modern. We got to make sure we,
Oh, it's in reference to the awning that was going on the kitchen. What was the name of the business that was
the
redoing their
kitchen
exterior?
cabinet place.
Yeah, they were putting an awning, so I was just concerned that the awning was going in a more modern industrial direction, and I wanted us to just be careful because we don't want
Right.
Lytle to reference all of
Well,
these.
I just want to let everyone know that the council is very concerned about the modern design and is counting on the ARB to do their job.
Which we will.
I assured them of that. So the
Good.
council's very concerned about the look of the exterior. So excited about the business coming, but
Yeah.
worried about the look.
I did have the lady who operates the Food Lion Shopping Center come up and meet with me one day last week.
About the fence?
No, she wanted to know. She hasn't met with me about the fence, unfortunately. That's another thing sort of hanging out there. But she was very concerned about the Lytle and wanted to know if anything could be done to stop it. And I said no, because it's a use by right, and so she was not a happy customer. But I tried to assure her that it will go through the public process, that she would be, and certainly welcome to come and ask questions, and just like the public can, but.
Big chunk of real estate end up becoming empty if something
Yeah.
else comes in.
Yeah. The only thing I was going to say about Lytle is, I work in Warrenton, and Warrenton is also looking at a Lytle on one of the main entrances into town.
Uh-huh.
They had a citizens meeting. The company, the Lytle, actually, the developer met with the citizens that are in the neighborhood directly behind where this Lytle is going to go. And 2 members of the Planning Commission were there, and they felt like that they did listen to the citizens, and that they, were trying to incorporate some of their suggestions into the circulation and the traffic and the entrances, and how it was going to impact their property being right behind it. So, I guess, I don't know if it's the same developers that we're talking about, but it is Lytle.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Lytle is just going to be a renter, so this whole complex would be
No, it's a
developed,
pad
right?
site.
It's going to be a pad site being
Yeah.
developed? Because I thought they wanted to integrate multi-use, multi-purpose
It's,
with
they want to phase it.
residential.
They want to
Yeah.
phase it. The only thing that I'm understanding that they're working on right now is the actual standalone grocery store, which is a use by right.
Okay.
And that they wanted to kind of disconnect the other stuff until they worked it out. But they were going to go ahead and develop the whole frontage, do the sidewalks, the lighting,
Yeah, they're going to do all that,
for
but
the whole parcel. The entrance they were
Yes,
going to do for the
yes,
whole
that's
parcel,
correct.
but they were
You're
only
correct.
going to do the section
pad.
with the grocery store in it because it was a use by right.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it's interesting that so many Lidls are coming all at the same time. I think Fredericksburg has got one.
They're breaking into the U.S. market, so, yeah.
Okay, that is all I have for right now that I think you'd be interested in.
Okay. I guess other announcements, which aren't really listed here, but we have our council
Are we going to do the
updates.
sign?
Oh, the signage.
Well, we haven't
thing
gotten
was
to
on-
those business yet.
Okay.
We want to do council update and,
I covered what the council thought about about that whole thing. We have another plan that's in the works. It's the expansion of the QBE Business Park.
and you said they're going to pick up the sidewalk?
They're going to, yes, incorporate the
nice.
sidewalks and the lighting farther on down. We have all, I believe everyone on the council has met with Mr. Landry as of now to see the plans. He has them hanging in his building, and it's quite an undertaking.
Yeah, I'm
and
sorry, I forgot to mention that.
No, that's okay.
We met with them too. It's a huge building, a huge redevelopment. It's very interesting.
very interesting, and it's really a big thing for the town. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, coming
So-
from
Is
that
it just
eastern
redeveloping
entrance.
that building, or?
Oh,
are we
it'll,
gonna
he'll,
lose
he'll
roof-
add,
are we
he'll
gonna
add
lose-
floors. He's going to take the elements of the building itself and incorporate them into the additional floors. He's going to have a rooftop mezzanine with an eating area.
Okay,
all
so it's
kinds
just
of
building
stuff.
up, it's not going to build out.
I don't think he's adding the footprint at
cookies and
all, if I
cream.
remember
Yeah.
correctly. And he's doing very interesting things like, he's using permeable pavement so that he's not having to address as much stormwater.
which
He
is
was-
what
which
on
is
the plan
exactly-
here for the
I'd
town
love-
center,
yeah,
which
I'd
we
love to have here.
discussed. No,
So
it's
you
on
can
the.
still have grass, but you can drive on it.
It's yeah,
Well,
it's
the
interesting.
paver itself, it's an actual paver material. I think he said it was got, this particular one is.
Comes
being
from
made in
Germany.
Germany,
Mhm.
yes. The landscaping we talked about, because I guess their interpretation of our landscape ordinance wasn't quite the same as mine. And I agreed that I thought we should be shielding the residents from the parking area and not crowding so much in front to, I mean, we want to see the building. And
Right.
so we asked them, yeah, please, do what you want to with the landscaping, because I don't think that's what it says anyway, but whatever, I think the shielding it from the residents was, I think, the most important part of having that landscaping, and everything else should just sort of set off the building. So
It's a beautiful design.
it is very, very, it's very unique. It's not modern at all.
No.
It has the elements of the school. I don't think I've seen anything like it, I'll be honest.
No,
with you.
the architect did a good job.
I mean, I try not to comment on these things as far as what I think, because I'm not supposed to, I don't actually really, I'm always interested, and it is very unique. So it'll be an interesting project to work with.
Yeah, it'd be nice. So we have that coming before us. The new police chief, Chief Lands, goes, tomorrow is his first all day. He's been here part-time, and then he's all ours, starting at midnight tonight. Let's call him. So he's working. I believe the officers are very happy that he's here. Things been going well. What else? We have a new treasurer, Roberto. He's just started this week, I think, last
We
week.
started last week.
He's been here for a week.
Yeah, so things are moving along, and
He seems to be very adept and,
Uh-huh.
and capable. I mean,
Yep.
very personable. He's been a great coworker. I mean, from that aspect. So I think
I got my
Kimberly
pay
is pleased.
notification, so he's obviously doing his job. Right, Corey? What else, Connor? Is there anything else from the council?
Divergent Diamond
Oh.
has been pushed off, but is on the plan.
Supposed to happen this
Weather
weekend.
pending.
The shutdown, but now it's going to rain again all weekend.
That's right.
The road's never going to get open. Did they cancel VDOT? Not yet? Okay. I just heard before I came that could be 3 inches of rain, so my guess is that it's going to get canceled.
Wow.
Wow.
It's just a bad time of year to try and switch a road over like that, so maybe February will be better.
Want to say that I'm happy to see Officer Neal back. For you that don't know Officer Neal, if you do see him, make sure that you say thank you. He, on the 31st of December 2016, Officer Neal was in a traffic stop and unfortunately was hit by another car coming behind him and unfortunately pinched him in between the car and sent him to Heathcote ER. But he is, to my knowledge, back to work.
You were going to say normal, weren't you?
But we're glad that he had a speedy recovery and hope that everything continues to go smoothly.
That's it, right?
I think that's it.
Okay. I guess, any planning commission updates?
Just a zoning ordinance update.
That was a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited. I'm excited.
You were saying that, well, Susanna was saying that the two planning commission went to the Lidl's.
Our planning commission members
Oh,
went?
goodness, no, I'm so
No,
sorry.
it
That
was
was
their
the
planning
Warrenton
commission.
Planning.
Their plan-
Two
okay.
of the
I was
Warrenton
gonna say,
Planning
did you get any
Commission.
feedback
Well,
on that?
they reported it in their planning commission meeting, which was last night? I guess it was last night. It was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, last night. Yeah, I mean, so.
Okay.
I'm hoping that they'll do something similar here, and they'll have some kind of a meeting with,
I'm sure they will.
you know, and that folks could go and ask questions. And
You weren't on staff yet when they came before council, right? Yeah, that was
Well,
before
I
council,
was-
wasn't it?
My first council meeting, they did come and ask to break it apart. That was
Mhm.
my first council meeting. But
Okay.
as far as anything else.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
So.
Any
somebody
questions
wants to
for
slideshow?
updates? No questions? Okay. We'll move on then to old business. Robert,
Signs.
signs.
You ready?
Are you?
Let's do it.
Ready, let's make a sign.
Make a sign.
Tired of talking about this. Did you find the button, Connor? You're so fancy.
Wait, there is one button that's literally right there on the side, I believe, Connor. That's the one you pushed.
Turn off all the.
Do not press this button.
That's right. Turns off all the cameras and.
Gosh.
Just have to hold it, I guess, right?
Now we all know.
I don't have job security.
Connor, can you grab that microphone off the top of the dais there?
Yeah, we should just put that away, probably. Do we want to lower the lights? We could start.
Okay, so are we talking about the signs on Jefferson, right? Is this what we're doing signs for now? Or are we doing? Am I wrong?
I think we were going to do all four, like the ones on Jefferson were the smaller ones, right?
Yes.
And then we were going to pick the two larger ones for the other
Okay.
entrances, but they would like coordinate.
Right. My suggestion would be to put off that end, only because now with the redevelopment of QBE, the sidewalk going in, we might have to.
Going back to that, John Marshall Commons.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if anyone, I forgot about mentioning this, but John Marshall Commons came in, presented, and is looking to put 215 units there directly across from what is now the post office, the dry cleaners.
Susanna presented that
We
to us.
did. We actually got comments from the ARB to couple with the ones from Planning Commission and the staff, and sent back several pages of comments. I'm supposed to be meeting with them to address, because we mean what we say. So we may get some changes.
But they don't even have an approved site plan.
They do not. They actually, partially because of our comments, they actually were asked to be taken off their planning commission and to come talk to us first before they go to planning commission. So good job, y'all.
Before they go to the Prince William County
Yes.
Planning Commission? Excellent.
Yes, so they did hear us.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and there is a big hurdle, because if you looked at what they had in the presentation that we saw, it was exactly the same type of stuff that's across the street from the, was that Tyler School?
Okay.
Exactly like those buildings, just 200 and something of them.
The piggyback condos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and
And it's
the
kinda
thing
like,
that was, they were marketing it as, Town of Haymarket style. It was like, okay, if you're going to
No.
market yourself as Town of Haymarket style, then here are, and I gave them our guidelines, our ordinance, the palette, and said, then,
Here you
walk the
go.
walk
Yeah.
if you're going to talk the talk.
So we tried to throw a lot of comments in on trying to, suggestions to change it, but, they always have that defense, well, right across diagonally from us, we can just build, since we're not in your town. It's kind of like, yeah, but you're right on the edge of it. We would like a little bit of blend.
Well, they heard you because they want to talk with me before, and we had a meeting. Their engineer couldn't make it, so we rescheduled for this coming Wednesday morning to try to see what are the changes that they're willing to make.
Who is it that you're meeting with?
Denise Harover, and I don't know the engineer's name. To be honest with you, she just said the engineer couldn't make it. I don't have his name. But she's the one who's coordinating, so I don't know how many other people are planning to come, but she's Denise, who was here. I think she actually sat right here in the meeting with the planning commission.
Okay.
But I'll be happy to keep you all apprised.
Okay. Moving on.
Everybody pick their favorites out?
So, go ahead. No, you go first,
no.
Bond.
I sent an email to everybody
Uh-huh.
with just like kind of an idea as far as like the post signs and then the signs that are in the ground. I thought it would be great to incorporate the Town of Haymarket actual logo that we use, and that it be the carved out wood. I don't know how to describe that.
No, I know what you mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like,
Was it on the sample I had? Was there something like that?
yes, I think if you look at that, don't scroll down any further, but
Don't scroll down any further, Robert.
it's okay, it's okay. Towards the right where it says like
That one?
those two, I think that the lettering is actually like carved, which
Yes,
I
it's
love that.
yes.
That
That's
is
nice.
what-
Sandblasted, I think, aren't they?
Is it?
I think they're sandblasted.
So, and I like incorporating for the ones that are set in the ground, maybe brick around the siding or stone.
On the post, you mean? Yes.
I think that would be neat.
I like.
Well, let me go back to
Yeah.
which sign are we trying to, I get, which sign are we trying to choose, or which location that is? Are we trying to just, have a little simple, welcome Haymarket, or are we trying to make,
Okay,
is it
so
something?
can you go back?
Oh, absolutely.
So, a type, the center one, go next to the left of Spring Ridge.
This one?
That's the right, but go to the left.
That one.
Hey, be nice. Try to remind me of that other.
Your other left, right?
I'll tell you all a funny story after the meeting. I can't say it on the recording.
Situate.
So click on that. So that would be more of something that you could get on, like coming over the railroad tracks, like on this way, more of a street sign, like smaller, entering on the smaller sides. And I mean, it wouldn't even have to be that shape or whatever, but see how in the center it had the
logo.
the logo. We could put our logo in there. And it could just be entering and then have the Town of Haymarket,
City limits or town limits sign.
or just say entering and then have the logo, because it has all the other information in there. It has when it's established, says Town of Haymarket on the logo, right?
Well, you-
Here, in fact, here. Yeah, so, yeah, so there's, well, I guess it's still too far away. Yeah, our logo has that, yes.
Isn't it right here?
It's on your documentation, yeah.
Yes. I think that, would you all be interested in doing, I wish I knew what it was called, but the same type of three-dimensional, is it three-dimensional or two-dimensional sign for the smaller ones too, not just metal, for the smaller sign as well?
I don't care if it's metal or wood, but we are looking at a small sign, and I think it needs to be a simple sign, so there's not going to be much detail. I don't see where 3 dimensions would come into play.
Not if the logo was sandblasted, if that's how they do it.
I mean, we could do something like that.
See how that one is.
I think she's talking about the etching of the letters.
Yes.
Yes.
I wouldn't be opposed
Or-
to that,
or the
but I
logo.
don't know what kind of, we would have to get VDOT approval, yes, for the sign.
Well, if
No.
it's going in the right-of-way.
We gotta get a permit for the right-of-way, but we
Right.
don't have to get a sign approval as long as we meet their size.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that'll
So
be part
they
of the
have,
permit for
they have
right-of-way.
certain size things that they're gonna allow us.
Do you want me to try to find more about that?
Yes,
As one
yes.
of my mentors, Todd Ray, once said, make sure, what does it say? It's easier to just do it and ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
Thing is,
no,
you need a permit.
because we
You need a
hate when
permit.
people do that.
I was going to say, please don't put me through that. Because they'll call me, you see. I can afford it to you.
I really like, for the smaller sign, that A-type born too, where it has the little
That one,
cap at the top, or,
that's nice.
you know, where the pole is coming out on the top. It doesn't have to be necessarily that shape or anything, but I like.
Well, that's in
Yeah.
Normandy, so. There's nothing wrong with your taste, Bond.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I like, this one has a cap on it, you know, like you say, it might not be a point, but there are several posts here,
No, but I see what you're saying about that one. Where'd that go?
you know, that has a different post look. to it.
But I think for the bigger signs at the entryways, you wanted the brick, right? Yeah,
I think that, or
Yeah.
stone.
something.
Yeah. But for the smaller ones where you're driving it over just something like a sign with the pole with a little bit of a more ornate pole.
Yeah,
So you could have that on either side of Jefferson Street.
Something like that.
so we like,
name of the one that she like? I was trying to keep up with it.
A-type born too, I guess.
Thank you.
What's this one down here? Bottom row, second one in from the left.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at, too.
I just can't really.
Porterfield. A-type Porterfield.
Yeah, that was the one I meant. Not saying, yeah, that's the one I like. Yeah, that's the one I meant.
Yeah, and you know, something like that would fit perfectly if you combined it with the town of Haymarket, or Haymarket town limits. Because, you know, you got that Haymarket town limits sign, the green
Do we
one.
have to have that? Is that like a VDOT? So that's going to be on the pole as well? Lower, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to, it's just that it'd probably be best to combine the two signs instead of have two different signs
No,
back to
I'm
back.
probably sure that VDOT has to
Approve that.
know, like,
Great question for Holly.
yeah, to know that we have to
We'll
have the
try to-
town limit sign.
That's in their style, you mean?
Yeah,
The green one that's in their style.
so we can put something above
Yeah.
it and put that underneath it.
If we could piggyback that, because I think in that presentation I showed way back when, it kind of looked like I just had like the same type of sign as a speed limit sign, but it had the logo in there with just welcome.
Yeah. Okay, look at the middle one, A-type Greenville 2. click on that, and it looks like there's something underneath the sign. What is,
Yeah, or something like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you go back, there was one other one, and it was similar, that A-type Ridgewood
which
down
is,
towards the bottom middle.
oh, there it
Yeah.
is, okay.
What is that? Oh, I thought maybe it was, had
Same
said,
idea.
but, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Same idea.
Donated by, that's interesting. You can buy a park bench, or you can buy a bench.
Maybe you could have people
Donate.
donate signs. I mean, how much are they? Because
These
might have
actually get
people who are
pretty
interested in
expensive.
that. Are they?
It's amazing how expensive these signs get.
So let's see. So do we like the wording? Do we like entering, right? Or
Or
do
welcome.
we like welcome to Haymarket, and then like
Well, if we
Is
have to
underneath-
leave, I think we have to ask Holly,
right?
or get Susanna to find out,
Yeah.
if we have to leave that town limits on
limits
there,
on it.
because that would,
Say the same thing as enter.
right, so then you could say welcome.
Welcome to Haymarket. Everyone's home.
Yeah, kind of like the Porterfield, Type A Porterfield one, where all you would need is the emblem with welcome on it if you have city limits of Haymarket, or something similar to that.
But we
You
want
know,
it,
try to make
we
it
want
simple.
it to be the lettering, right? We want the lettering to be.
Where's that one?
Embossed or.
But we have to see what VDOT will allow.
Yeah.
Right.
What about colors? You like blue or?
No blue.
What's our branding?
Really, Robert?
What's our branding? Some type of
Isn't it
off-white and green?
Yeah.
Well, we have one right here.
But we're not talking about roof.
Ah,
I love the sign that's on this building and the one that's in front of the museum. I love
Yes.
the colors.
Oh, they are
And I think
Yeah,
that'd be nice
those
if
are
it all.
those are our branded
I
colors,
think
I
it would be
think.
nice if it
Yes.
all blended with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Green, of course.
come as you are. Yeah, I don't know if we want to put that out there.
I like the one that says movie town.
In white.
Movie locations.
Which one?
We should look at ourselves as movie location too while we're at it.
Which one are you looking at, Susanna?
Well, when it said movielocations.com, it's like,
Oh.
where, I think it was the one there, it says A-type Burkittsville in the lower right corner. Nope, not that one, I'm sorry, on the other Burkittsville one. Where, on the next row.
sorry.
Yeah, if you look in the lower right corner, it says movielocations.com.
That was obviously from a scene in a movie. No.
Right, I mean, yeah, Stars Hollow, right?
So there's your, again, black and white, or we kind of like the gold, right? But if we do coloring for the one sign, the little sign in gold lettering, then I kind of like gold lettering, but we would have to do that, this is a question, gold lettering for all of the signs, and do we
Well,
want
first
that?
we have to see what VDOT is going to allow. So we have to get their guidelines and then come back.
I'll give you a report about that next meeting.
Okay.
So you want to just
But,
find out first?
well, I mean, we can make, obviously, we're going to have probably different signs here than here, because these are going to be larger.
Yeah, and those would definitely probably be the wood 3D
Two-pole.
two-pole
Right.
size, yeah.
But maybe we could get Mr. Landry to proffer a sign in his,
I bet he'd be happy to do that.
you think
Probably
on,
par for 4, as long as they're all on his property.
Well, we also got to take into consideration the sign we have out there already.
well, that might have to get moved.
Yeah, well, it might need to be moved, but do we want to add another sign and end up having this sign? You know, here we got the speed limit sign, you got the town, entering the town sign, then you got the, here are all the organizations within town sign.
Right.
And then it's like, maybe we want to collapse in it and just expand a sign on their,
So that's on all,
corners.
Yes.
That's even on 66.
Would they allow us to have a sign made that says Haymarket Town Limits underneath.
That's what we have to find out from VDOT.
Okay.
Right, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna find out what they'll allow as far as the location, the size, if the old ones
If we
have
can
to
incorporate
remain,
it onto
if we
the
can
same-
incorporate it on the same pole, right?
Yes.
Or if it has to be in a separate,
Mhm.
I mean, all of that stuff, we need to know that. So-
Yeah.
So, is that it, or you want to just table it till the next time? then?
Can everybody maybe draw like a sketch of what they like,
Yeah.
and then we can all like look at them together?
You don't want my sketch.
Well, if you can't do sketches, find a photograph of something that you like and bring the photograph.
And say how you would change it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
That's
the idea behind this. Yeah.
Here, yeah, that was our plan, and that is our plan. So we, again, just to take,
I like that one that you, the A-type Collingswood. That's what, no, that's not, that wasn't it. What was the one that you,
The board?
Or the one that was
Maybe.
down.
Oh,
with the
that-
2 poles?
Oh,
Yeah, it was
Oh.
down.
Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's in the.
There it
board,
is.
Yeah.
8-type Bristol, or B-type, 8B, whatever, Z3, whatever.
well, the A is for the single pole, and the B's are the
Double poles.
and on the side.
You're so smart, Robert.
Yeah. Only on Tuesdays. Oh, I'm off today. But then the C types are where the poles are. The poles are behind the sign. See how
Gotcha.
so it still
Yeah.
has 2 poles.
Oh,
but
wow.
They're
Okay.
behind it.
Okay.
So again, all little details that.
Are
Right.
these sign company, I mean, is this a particular sign company's type, or is this something
This is
that
Robert's
Just a
research.
web search that Robert did.
Google's signs.
and that's what they're called? Is that
No,
what-
he compiled it
Oh, okay.
and named them that.
Just so they're organized.
So they're
Oh, so
orderly.
A means-
He did all this work.
That is amazing. I am very impressed. I am so impressed. That's
Okay, so A is the single pole, B is on the sides, and C is behind.
And I liked A
Okay.
and B.
Yes, I do as well.
A Z type.
3.
There, here's
The hanging signs. Yeah, the hanging
I'm
signs.
never going to live this
You're
down.
never gonna live that
I don't even
down.
know if I did that, but it's my fault, I'm sure.
Stop it.
No,
That was pretty
I should-
funny.
Oh, I should look at the legibility since I really should.
But I don't think we're interested in the D type, so, but it's there.
The D type is a hanging sign?
Like, the single pole, like that.
Yeah.
The side, to the side.
Hanging, yeah.
I mean, if you were going to do that, you could just put it on one of our poles and get a flag made,
Exactly.
like a banner,
We do have
like we
banners.
do have banners.
We do have banners, because I have, yeah. So I keep my Haymarket sign separate from other signs, because it's got the banner on the front.
So for the little sign, right? so Of course, it's going to be a single pole.
My only reservation about that is I like the other ones. I'm just thinking that VDOT isn't going to allow us to have them. Like,
Like the B type.
Unless it was separate,
unless it was a separate sign.
yeah.
They're gonna need to have more something,
But we'll find out.
yeah, we'll find out.
And I will email this to you as well as report on it next time. I mean, so that you guys can be thinking about it as you're compiling your information.
Oh, that's a good idea, what you find out from them, and then we can,
I'm just going to email it to you all. There's no reason why I wouldn't. And like I said, then we can talk about it again.
that way it'll help us get our ideas more
I
streamlined.
guess another question for them, though, if we want to go with a decorative pole, can we substitute their pole with a decorative pole to put that city or that town limit sign on?
Can we add it to our,
So can we replace their pole? Their
We
pole
have
is
to
just the
use-
standard.
Isn't one of them on a utility pole? I mean, it wasn't even,
Yeah.
didn't I see?
And can
It's
the
like they just-
actual sign be replaced with like
A nicer looking-
nicer sign?
or do we have
That
to
says
use
What are
their,
our options?
Yeah.
we want to know everything, Susanna.
I am going to Google it.
She's going to give us a 2-hour report
I
on
promise it won't
signs.
be 2 hours, but I will find out everything that I can, for sure. I think these are great questions. I think it's very important. I know we did a signage study for a town that I worked for in North Carolina, the town of Summerfield, North Carolina, which is just over the line north of Greensboro, and they were very particular about making sure you knew when you entered Summerfield and you were out of Greensboro. You know, it's like there was no sign to say you're out of Greensboro. They want to know you were in Summerfield.
Someplace else.
Right, and so they did a very similar study like this to find out what would be allowed, et cetera, and it was great. It's part of their identity. It's, you know, so I think it's a great thing for a town to do.
Okay.
Okay, everyone happy with what we've done? Then we'll go on to our next agenda item. You guys
Motion to
aren't beating me
adjourn.
it.
Connor, Bond.
It's okay. Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 9 o'clock.
That's good.
Okay. So I'll tell you the funny story about the directions.
Wait, let me turn the tape off first.